Today we're doing Module 1, Lesson 20. The objective of today's lesson is to understand how to solve two-step word problems involving multiplication and division and assess the reasonableness of answers. The materials needed for today are your online whiteboard or your whiteboard dry erase marker and dry eraser from home. The teaching style we're going to continue to follow is the I do it, we do it together, and then you do it on your own. We're going to start off with an application problem. I'm going to go ahead and read it to you and then give you a little time to work on it on your own. Red, orange, and blue scarves are on sale for $4 each. Nina buys 2 scarves of each color. How much does she spend altogether? So first we have read the problem. Now you need to draw and label. So a lot of people are skipping this step and you're just trying to add or subtract or do something with those numbers that you see. I really want you to draw the picture to help you visualize how to solve the problem. You're going to write an equation that matches your drawing and then write your word sentence answer. Okay? Go ahead and solve. Message me your answer in GoGuardian when you're finished. Okay, so let's take a look at the problem again. Red, orange, and blue scarves are on sale for $4 each. Okay, so I'm going to circle $4. There's red, orange, and blue scarves. So there's 3 different color scarves. Nina buys 2 scarves of each color. Okay, so 2 scarves of each color. How much does she spend? So we're looking for how much she spends in dollars all together. Well, when I think of this, I'm thinking of a tape diagram. You might have thought differently, but I'm going to do my tape diagram. And it says that she has red, orange, and blue scarves, and she buys 2 of each color. So I'm going to split my tape diagram into pieces. So there's 2 red scarves. There's 2 orange scarves. And there's 2 blue scarves. And I made mine a little big, so I'm just gonna... Oops. Okay. So 2 orange, 2 red, 2 blue. Let's go ahead and start labeling this tape diagram. There are 6 groups, right? Because 2 red plus 2 orange plus 2 blue is 2 plus 2 plus 2, which is 6. So there's 6 groups or 6 scarves. Right now, we do not know how much money she spends total. But we do know that the size, or how much each scarf costs, is $4. Okay, so there's our equation right there. Now we don't know the total. If we don't know the total, it can't be a division problem, because to do division, that big number goes first. And if we don't have that big number, then it's not division. So that leads us to doing a multiplication problem. Well, I know the number of groups. There's 6 groups of, each scarf costs $4. So there's 6 groups of 4. So let's go ahead and skip count by 4s 6 times. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. 6 times 4 equals 24, which means that she spent $24 total. Okay, so now I have to put that into a word sentence. The question again is, how much does she spend altogether? So I'll write, she spends $24. And there's the answer to our application problem. Okay, now we have some fluency practice, so we're going to go ahead and do our group counting. This time we're counting by 5, so I'm going to have the pace a little bit faster because I think you guys are probably really good at this. When I point up, you're going to start with 5. Ready? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, back down, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, 0. And now let's go ahead and practice by 4s. So this one I'm going to go a little bit slower because remember, when I'm pulling my fist down, you're thinking the 2s. You're thinking 2, say 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, okay? So you're thinking those numbers in your head and then saying every other one. Ready? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, back down, 36, 32, 28, 24, 20, 16, 12, 8, 4, 0. Okay, so now we are to this word problem, okay? This is one of our 2-step word problems. So I'm going to show you how we do a 2-step word problem, and then I'm going to have you doing one with me. So first I'm going to read it to you. Mr. Lim buys 7 plants for his garden. Each plant costs $5. The next day, he buys a rose bush that also costs $5. How much more do the 7 plants cost than the rose bush? Okay, so there's 2 steps to this problem. Let's look at just the first step. Mr. Lim buys 7 plants for his garden, and each plant costs $5. So let's start there. I'm going to make my tape diagram. Okay, I know that he buys 7 plants. So my tape diagram is going to need 7 groups. Each plant will be its own group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Each plant costs $5. So I know that each of these has a size of 5. Each plant is 5. So I need to figure out how much he spends total. Well, there's 7 groups. And each group or each plant is $5, so that's 7 groups of 5. Because we don't know our total, so we can't, it's not going to be division, because in division, the total or that big number comes first, okay? And we don't know our big number right now, so we only know our two smaller numbers or our factors, and we're going to multiply them. So we have 7 groups of 5, so we're going to count by 5s 7 times. Ready? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. 7 groups of 5 equals 35, which means that he spent $35 total on his plants. Okay, that brings us to the second part of our problem. The next day, he buys a rose bush that also costs $5. How much more do the 7 plants cost than the rose bush? So now let's make another tape diagram, okay? Showing this rose bush that costs $5. And I'm going to line it up exactly starting at the same spot as this one. And I'm going to make the piece the same size as this one, because I know that this is $5, just like the one on top is $5. Because he bought this rose bush for $5. Okay? So, the one on top is what he spent on the plants. And this tape diagram on bottom is what he spent on the rose bush. And it wants to know how much more do the 7 plants cost than the rose bush. Well, if we look here, we want to find out the difference, okay, between what he spent on the 7 rose bushes and what he spent on the 7 plants and what he spent on the 1 rose bush. So we know that if he had gone all the way to here, that he would have spent $35, right? Because we figured that out up here, that if the tape diagram goes all the way to this end here, that's $35. But he didn't spend that $35, he only spent $5, which means that we have to take that $35 and take away the $5 he spent on the bush, and that will tell us how much more the plants cost than the bush. So let's do 5 minus 5 is 0. 3 minus nothing is 3. So he spent this amount here is $30. That's how much more money he spent on plants than bushes. Okay, so let's go back to the question. How much more do the 7 plants cost than the rose bush? They cost $30 more. Okay, so you see why drawing this picture makes it really easy to solve my problems, because my problems over here aren't too complicated. The picture is what's complicated, but that's what makes it easy to understand what problem I'm doing, okay? So it's really important to do that drawing when you're solving word problems. Now, this is the one that I'm going to have you do with me. So let's go ahead and read it together. 10 children equally share 40 almonds. How many almonds will 3 children get? Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the first part of our sentence. There's 10 children, and they equally share 40 almonds. On your whiteboard, let's go ahead and start with our tape diagram, and there's 10 children, so I know it's going to be a long one. So go ahead and make your long tape diagram. Now let's break it into 10 pieces, okay? Because we know that there are 10 children, which means that there's 10 groups. So let's label that 10 groups and then break it into those 10 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's okay if they're not exactly the same size, as long as you try to get them as close to the same size as you can. Make sure your drawing matches mine so you're ready to move on to the next step with us. Okay, so we know that there's 10 children, so there's our 10 groups, and they equally share 40 almonds. So we know that there's 40 almonds altogether, so we do know our total. So what we don't know over here is the size of each group, or how many almonds each student will get. So go ahead and label your total, and then you're going to label your unknown with a question mark. Okay. So what you may have noticed is that this time we do know our total. So we do know our big number. If we know the big number, then that means we have to be doing division, because the big number comes first in division. So let's start with that big number. We're dividing it into 10 groups. So we've got 40 divided by 10. Okay. Now, division can be a little bit trickier, because what we have to do is we have to take our total and we have to break it down into those 10 groups. Okay? So this is where our picture really helps us. We're going to draw one almond in each group until we get to 40. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm at 10. I have to keep going because I haven't gotten to 40 yet. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and continue counting. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I'm getting close. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Okay, so I've used all 40 almonds. I put them equally in each of the 10 groups. And if you look at just one group, you can see how many are in that one group. So go ahead and finish your drawing if you need to, and solve this equation by putting your answer right here. Okay, go ahead and hold it up with your fingers. How many almonds does each student get? 4. Each student gets 4 almonds because you can see each group has 4 lines in it. So the size of each group is 4. Now, here's another trick that you can use in division. Just like when we skip count and multiplication to solve, you can skip count for division too. So what we could have done is skip counted by 10 until we got to 40. Let's try that. 10, 20, 30, 40. How many times do we have to skip count? 4 times, and there's our answer. Okay? Make sure your drawing is caught up with mine because we still have part 2 of the problem. Part 2 says, how many almonds will 3 children get? So we have to figure out how many just 3 of those students or children will get. So let's make our second tape diagram, and there's 1, 2, 3 groups ends right here. So we're going to line up our tape diagram so it takes up the same amount of space as our top one. We're going to break it into those 3 pieces. Okay, I'm going to label it 3 groups. I'm going to give you a second to catch up. We have 3 groups because we only have 3 children now. We already figured out each child gets 4 almonds. So I'm going to go ahead and label the size as 4 because that hasn't changed. So now when you're looking at this, I do not see a total. We don't know how many almonds the 3 children are going to get altogether. So we don't know our total. If we don't know our total, we can't do a division problem. So that means that we're doing multiplication. And you can see we have 3 groups of 4. There's 3 children. Each child gets 4 almonds. 3 groups of 4. Now we solve. Go ahead and write that equation on your whiteboard. And then I want you to solve 3 groups of 4. So you need to skip count by 4s 3 times. And message me your answer in Go Guardian. I'll give you about 1 minute to get me that answer in Go Guardian. If you need to draw the tallies in your tape diagram to help you count, you can do that. Okay, thank you for all those answers in Go Guardian. Let's go ahead and do it together now. We're going to skip count by fours 3 times. Ready? 4, 8, 12. So, how many almonds will 3 children get? They will get 12 almonds. Okay, so that was our 2-step word problem. First, we had to figure out how many almonds each child got. Once we knew how many each child got, we could figure out how many 3 children would get. Now we're at the part where you are going to do your homework alone. You're going to have 2 word problems to solve. Okay, they are going to be 2-step word problems, so make sure you use your picture to draw what you need to help you solve the problem. Go ahead and get started.